so
Super,
much.
Janessa. Thank you, Janessa. For those of you that have not met me, my name is Heidi Posada, and I'm one to welcome you all to today's California Unemployment Tax webinar. We are excited to see so many people joining us today. We've got over 100 people signed up. Hopefully you're not here just for the food. Hopefully you're also here for some of the content. I'm looking at the list. There's quite a few of you that I've met before, whether it's in person or on other webinars. We've done some proposals for some of you. So I hope you all enjoy this ride, enjoy relearning this information. For all of those newbies, this webinar, I think, is scheduled for an hour. We're probably going to get you out a little bit early, so you can maybe sneak a walk in if you're somewhere where the weather's nice. Or maybe you have a little extra time to get extra work done today. So, but I do just, first of all, want to welcome all of you here in California. 501c Services is based in San Jose, California. So we're very familiar with the state. This is also the state with our highest number of members. I do want to say our hearts are with all of you in Southern California, those of you that could make it to today's webinar. We've all been watching the devastation that you're all experiencing. Also, on a lighter note, as a Vikings fan, it was really hard to see them lose last night, but I am sure happy that the Rams were able to bring some light to all of your days down in Southern California. So we're with all of you, and hopefully those winds die down and those fires can get under control completely. But I'm just going to do a little conversation, a little talk as more people. We've got so many people on today's webinar that I'm going to hand it over to Janessa in a couple minutes, but I'll do a little housekeeping before we get started and just make sure that as many people, if people are running a little late, can have an opportunity to log on. But don't worry, we're still going to get you out of here before 1 o'clock. So Uber Eats, hopefully you all did receive your food. For a little bit of the housekeeping, the Q&A box is available. If anybody wants to shout out what they ordered on Uber Eats, I'd certainly love to check out, see some unique cuisines, maybe sushi or some other fun things that people have ordered today. Today we had Thai in our office, so I was able to grab a little bit of Thai food before we started here today. So that was good for us. So again, if you do, the Q&A box is available oh no, it looks like some people did not get their Uber Eats. I apologize for that. If there's any issues, we can certainly follow up with those after the webinar and send you a voucher. It should be good for about 24 hours. So I do apologize. It looks like someone's giving a feedback that it might have gone to your junk mail. So again, I apologize for that. If you have a junk mail box, maybe it's been sent there. Salad shop in Salinas. That sounds good. I used to have an office down in Salinas, so I worked for the American Cancer Society down there. So I'm familiar with that area well. So those of you that did not get your Uber Eats, we will try and follow up. I can't guarantee that we're going to capture all of this here. So you will get our contact information at the conclusion, and we'll be sure to send you another voucher. We don't want you to miss out on that. Some quick housekeeping. Janessa is going to be leading most of this webinar today. And at the conclusion, either today or tomorrow, we do have a pretty high volume of people today. So it might take her a few days to do follow-up, but she will be following up with all of you individually. She'll get you the copy of this PowerPoint so you can share it. Zoom will automatically send you a link to the video recording, so you should have that fairly quickly. And trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, your HR and Shroom credits, Janessa will also be emailing. So those of you that are here for the credits, hopefully getting some great information from us as well. You'll get those credits from Janessa. That's about all I've got. I'm going to do a quick introduction, but Janessa, can you think of anything else in the housekeeping area that I forgot?
So far in the next few days, I'll be sending the HRCI and Shroom credits. Also, I should be sending just a copy of the slides as well. If you need any like a physical like representation of the information. And we're going to send a recording as well at the end of the presentation through Zoom.
Super.
But yeah, if you do have any questions and if you didn't get the Uber Eats, I'll definitely reach out and send over a code.
Yeah, yeah, super. And also, I am going to be kind of behind the scenes today managing questions. So I'm going to do my best. If you do have a question, if you put it in the Q&A box, at least managing it through chat. There might be some that we, if we feel are necessary, Janessa might read it to everyone. But for the most part, I'll be answering those behind the scenes. So Janessa, if you want to go to the next slide, and I'll just do a quick introduction of you and me.
Awesome.
As I said, my name is Heidi Posada. I've been with 501c Services for about 14 years, and that's why probably for some of you, my name might be familiar. A lot of you I know I've met with in the past. I've seen a lot of Boys and Girls Clubs, YMCAs, even a regional center that we work with, a lot of the California regional centers. I've seen a lot of you are signed up today. So many different nonprofits here. So, and a lot of you I've had the opportunity to work with. It's really exciting for me to be handing the baton to Janessa. She's been with 501 for about 18 months now. And prior to that, she worked in the wedding industry and high tech. And now she's just completely taken a dive and working with, diving in, working with nonprofits. Probably over the last 18 months, what do you think? You've probably talked to well over 1,000 nonprofit leaders, helping them look at how they manage their unemployment. When she's not here helping with the exciting topic of unemployment, you might find her in a karaoke bar. We might have to change our holiday party this year to karaoke. We've heard she's quite the karaoke queen. We haven't gotten to see it yet. Janessa also loves seasonal decor. We don't see it so much behind her right now, but she's also in our office. She's the one that makes sure we all know what season it is. We can go to her office, and springtime, wintertime, she's always got a good mood in her office. So, and I think that's it. And also she decorates by her thrift shopping. So she loves to go thrift shopping. So just a little bit about Janessa. I know you're going to have a good time listening and learning from her. I'm going to go by and go behind the scenes and help answer some questions. And I'm going to hand it off to Janessa. You're in really good hands, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Heidi. All right, so today we're going to learn about California and unemployment in your state. So we're going to provide a broad overview on how unemployment insurance works, alternatives for 501c3 nonprofits when it comes to unemployment, how reimbursing works. We're also going to use some real life examples of nonprofits we've helped with our cost analysis. And then finally, we're going to provide more information on our company, 501c services, and how many of our California nonprofits, as Heidi mentioned earlier, we have a lot in the state, nearly 400 that have benefited from our services. First of all, just wanted to start off with a little history to put unemployment in perspective. Unemployment started in the US in the 1930s following the Great Depression and New Deal, where the federal government wanted to create a safety net for workers who lost their jobs through no fault of their own. And then from 1930 to 1972, 501c organizations, they didn't pay into unemployment benefits for separate employees. Although this saved nonprofits money from paying these taxes, employees that were laid off couldn't reap the benefits of having a safety net that for-profit companies had provided. Fast forward to 1972, the federal government changed the law under the Social Security Act to where nonprofits must pay into unemployment, but were provided different options in how they pay, so the tax wouldn't be seen as a unnecessary expense for them. Unemployment is overseen on the federal level. However, each state gets to manage their own programs however they choose. So throughout the US, you'll see different taxable wage bases, tax rates, benefit amounts. But today we're just going to cover information here in California. When it comes to management, unemployment rates can be adjusted annually and are adjusted by experience. So for instance, if you have a year or two of bad claims, your tax rate will increase. Most states, including California, run as a risk pool. So what you put in does not necessarily equate to what you'll get out. We're seeing that a lot of nonprofits are putting more money into that pool than what they're actually getting out. These total tax liabilities by employers are often greater than the claims paid, with reserves used in times of recession. The tax liability is calculated by multiplying the taxable wage base by your employer tax rate. So take a guess on what a single claim can cost in California. So we're going to look at some guesses. Feel free to answer in the Q&A box. So I'm seeing I got 5,000, 6,000. I see 4,000, 32,000, 65,000. And then I have 10,000, 20,000. I've got, it depends on the employee, 14,500, 7,000. And it does depend on like what. So for as like a hint, the total cost is looking at the weekly benefit maximum times the maximum number of weeks someone can claim. And just to give you that number of the maximum number of weeks someone can claim, it is 26 in California, just as a little hint. I'm seeing 3,000, 2,000. All right, and one more guess, I see 7,500. So the total cost is for the maximum amount a single person can claim in unemployment in California is $11,700. Just as a caveat, this is what an employer is charged for employee benefits by the state. Those extended benefits you saw in the recession and extra COVID payments were covered by the federal government. So the maximum weekly benefit in California is $450. And when we multiply that number by 26 is how we get that $11,700 for the maximum of what a single person can claim on unemployment. The federal government sets the wage base at a minimum of $7,000 and there's no maximum. California is at the lowest taxable wage base at $7,000, which means that for the first $7,000 an employee earns, your organization is taxed on that. So the majority of employers in California, they pay their taxes in the first quarter, but you might see that taxes paid after the first quarter, maybe for like seasonal employees, new hires, or employees making less than that $7,000. The minimum tax rate is at 1.5%. The maximum tax rate is 6.2%, and those are both set by the state. And there's also a 0.1% education fund that is added to all tax rates unless you have that maximum rate at 6.2%. So I'd also like to share some additional information that's unique to California. If you happen to have staff in other states, this may not apply. If you're a member of 501c Agencies Trust, we can help you navigate the different laws here in California and in other states too. We work with a lot of YMCAs, Boys and Girls Clubs, and other summer camp programs. So we're very familiar with this first tip. California exempts camp staff from unemployment coverage, provided that they're a full-time student, employed less than 13 weeks, and if the camp operates for less than 7 months a year. If the above criteria are met, their wages should not be included in your quarterly wage reporting to the state, as this is not considered covered employment. Reporting their wages in error may result in liability for benefits if they file a claim. So if you do provide severance pay, you'll want to make sure that you're not unintentionally overpaying by reporting these wages. The state of California does not consider severance payments to be wages. Therefore, these types of payments do not impact unemployment benefits. Individuals can receive severance and their full unemployment benefits. These payments should not be reported on your quarterly wage reports. If you report severance as wages, it can increase your liability by helping former employees requalify for a second claim after the initial claim is expired. Our members benefit from having experts available to help prevent them from overpaying for their unemployment. So if you ever have questions on any information like this, we'll do our best to help you out. So the last thing I want to note is the improper rate, which is at 20.1%. And this overpayment equates to around $6 billion in overpayments to former employees who are collecting unemployment from the past 3 years. So on average, it's about $2 billion per year. This is information that we get from the Department of Labor. And you can see California is one of the many states that's greater than 13%, a little over 20%. This is important to know as we really encourage you to look over your claims and make sure that you're not overpaying for anybody's claims. Here at 501, we help organizations monitor this. And in the recent 4 quarters, so Q4 2023 to Q3 2024, in California alone, we received over $350,000 in credits from previous overpayments via our claims management and internal processes. And if you are managing on your own, we want to make sure that you're properly charged for a former employee's weekly benefit amount. There are 3 different alternatives for unemployment. One is that you pay the state tax that we mentioned earlier with the tax rate that's set by the state and taxable wages. Another option is that you can self-insure, reimburse for your unemployment, where you just pay dollar per dollar for your unemployment claims. So you're basically only paying for the benefits issued. And then the last option is kind of a hybrid of both, where you buy insurance that offers the savings of reimbursing while also providing that safety net. So just to let you know, reimbursing is not for everyone. The qualifications we look for considering reimbursing is that an organization must be a 501c3 nonprofit. So it excludes religious institutions. We recommend a gross annual payroll of $1 million or more, because typically if your payroll is under $1 million, especially significantly less, what you're paying into the state tax pool is probably pretty minimal, and you might not see much significant savings opting out. However, there may be some scenarios where you could see potential savings. So we'd be happy to look at your numbers, even if you're slightly less than 1 million. We also look at a positive audit of the past 3 years. So that means in order for reimbursing to benefit you, we try to evaluate if what you paid each year in taxes exceeds what you pay in claims. We also want to make sure that there isn't any major disruption in funding in the next 24 months. So we do recommend to stay with SUI if you know you may have anything from layoffs, reduction in workforce, losing funds, or closing programs where your tax rates may go up with experience. And you'll probably want to wait once those claims decrease. What it means to reimburse is that your tax rate turns to 0%, and the state will bill you only for the unemployment claims you receive over the quarter. It's a great way for nonprofits to save money and be a better steward of donor dollars. The process is seamless for separated employees. No matter how your employee is separated, they'll still go through the same process for EDD. The state will determine their benefit amount based on their base period pay. The only change is how the quarterly bill is calculated. Instead of the state unemployment insurance tax, you're now only responsible for the charges your organization incurs. We work with 1,500 nonprofits, and nearly 400 of them are in California. So you're probably wondering what motivates them to reimburse. In most cases, reimbursing saves money. On average, savings can be anywhere from 20 to 40% compared to paying for SUI. And this is really the driver for most organizations to switch. Reimbursing eliminates any concern of changes in the state tax, such as those tax hikes you can't control. You become a better steward of donor dollars as you just pay for your actual claims than into the state pool. Because unemployment is managed by the federal government, big picture, reimbursing is allowed in all 50 states, best with employers with over $1 million in payroll and at least 15 or more full-time employees. If you're on the borderline, we can certainly talk, as sometimes there are circumstances where we can consider reimbursing for your organization. If you're smaller and reimbursing already, we can still consider you for our services and how we can help you reduce your risk. So I do want to talk about how SUI is calculated. And like I mentioned earlier, I'll show some real cost assessments we've done in the past. The taxable wage base is customized by each state. In California, that taxable wage base is at $7,000. All employers in the state pay that same taxable wage base. It represents the first $7,000 of an employee's earnings. There's no maximum and can increase or decrease by any amount each year. The tax rate is set annually by the state and is based on experience. To calculate that contribution amount, you multiply the taxable wage base by the tax rate. So for California, it's that $7,000 times 1.5 to 6.2%. This amount means that if each employee is making over $7,000, a company is paying in between $105 to $434 per employee in unemployment. In this first example of a human services nonprofit we worked with, the taxable payroll was just shy of $1 million, tax rate of 4.7%, estimated claims only $200 per year. And in this case, we looked at a 3-year average of claims. So they were overpaying $45,000 a year. Think of what you can do with an extra $45,000. This next example, the taxable payroll is around $700,000, tax rate at 3.38%. The estimated annual claims is at $5,900. Estimated unemployment taxes were around $24,000. So they overpaid around $18,000. What we do to get the ball rolling on an assessment is that we look at the EDD tax rate notice. It's typically sent by December 31st. Many of you may have received it earlier through email in November. The key points to look at is first, the highlighted number on the top right corner, the 1.7%, that's the tax rate. And then there's the F plus in the middle, that's not highlighted. That's the tax table California is currently in. This is called the UI rate schedule, which is the lowest it can be here in California because the state owes significant funds to the federal government. The F plus rating means that they can increase your tax rate higher than it would be if we were in a different tax rate schedule. Unless you have that 6.2 tax rate, you would add the 0.1% employment training tax to your tax rate. Some other numbers that aren't highlighted is the current balance, which in this example is around $178,000. So that means during the organization's history, they may have overpaid $200,000 into the state. For line item number 2, they paid over $22,000 in unemployment between 2017 to 2018. Line item number 9, they paid $1,200 in claims. So that means this organization paid over $20,000 into the pool than what they were actually taking out. So we really want to help you to investigate these numbers and see if there is that potential $20,000 savings or more sitting within your organization. And a little bit more about our company. We were founded in 1982 by a former UCP executive, John Huckstad. He was looking for ways to save money for his organization, so he came up with the idea of starting a trust. He created the first kind of grantor trust, the Joint Unemployment Compensation Trust. that eventually became 501c services, 501c agencies trust. We started at about 25 members here in San Jose and have now grown to helping over 3,000 nonprofits in various ways. In 2016, John sold the company back to his employees, so we're now 100% employee owned. From our receptionist to the CEO, every member is committed to our company and serving our members. Our services are valued tremendously by our members, with our company having over a 98% retention rate. Here are a couple of testimonials our members have shared, and you can also go back to these later, as I'll send the slides after the presentation. And this is a clip from our 40th anniversary celebration a few years ago that includes testimonials from Anika Lund and Mike Hoffman from Start Early, Mary Sue and Michael Eady from CISC, Sandy Leota and Chris Marshall of Baltimore Center Stage, and Phyllis Austin and Jason Penniger from Boys and Girls Clubs of America.
What makes me passionate about working for a non-for-profit organization is because I knew I always wanted to work for a mission-driven organization.
Our mission is to work with immigrant communities so that they can achieve the American dream.
501 helps focus our service to the community by giving us more time.
501 helps us focus on serving our communities by providing services directly to our HR professionals.
The biggest benefit for working with 501 is really the transparency and ability to forecast our costs when it comes to our unemployment benefits.
They also keep our cash flow steady through claims that are sound and take a lot of the admin burden off of us so we can just stay on autopilot.
We're very grateful for all the support you provided over the last 4 decades, and we wish you continued success in the future.
Congratulations, 501, on your 40th anniversary. It's been a pleasure serving with you for the last 24 years.
And like I've said earlier, we work with around 400 California nonprofits. Here's a quick snapshot of the few nonprofits here in the state that are members. So the first way we help nonprofits is through claims management. Here in California, we've handled over 3,000 claims. Our team will help you audit and protest claims. We offer unlimited access to hearing reps, and our team has a 78.97% protest win rate in California. You'll have a dedicated claims manager once you become a member of the trust, and all of your claims will go through an online portal where you'll be notified that a claim has been filed. So you go into the portal to respond to these questions, and if in any case you go on PTO and forget to delegate these unemployment tasks, it shouldn't be a problem for when a claim isn't responded to in several days, it gets handled and escalated. A big part of our claims management is that our team doesn't want to see your organization overpay or get hit by those California error rates. So we can audit those charges for you or prevent you from paying for a claim when someone gets terminated. We want to make sure that you're managing these claims and also have enough support to do so. Our HR services include 3 components. We offer access to unlimited HR consultations. We're a small dedicated team that can answer any of your HR related questions. So if you have an ongoing issue, you can develop rapport with the person who will support you and manage any of your HR questions. Our HR services have trainings throughout the year that are HRCI and SHRM certified. And there's also an online knowledge library with our HR services. So with the $450 maximum weekly benefits here in California, our goal is to help you keep that cost as low as possible. If you're ever laying someone off, our reemployment tool lets you offer packages which can range from online coaching, interview techniques, and resume writing. It's never fun to let someone go, but at least you can give them the safety net and resources to help them secure a new job faster, which in return can help you save your organization more money. So the protection part is the insurance part of our program. Most of our members take our stop loss protection, which helps our members during catastrophic claims. Other than catastrophic claims, for managing the highs and lows of unemployment, we have the trust savings account. This is a reserve account owned by our organization where you would save for those possible unexpected number of claims. So I hope this sparked your interest, and maybe some of you may want to manage your unemployment through us as a reimbursing employer. If you wanted to look into potential savings, what I would need from you is your 941s or estimated payroll from 2023 to 2024 as a reimburser. And if you're paying SUI, I would need a copy of your 2024 tax rate notice. It would also be helpful to include your 2022 and 2023 tax rate notice, so we can also look at additional data points for you. If for some reason you're having a hard time getting this information, we do have a cheat sheet for you on how to contact EDD, and hopefully that'll help you get the data that you need. So it looks like Heidi has answered a lot of the questions behind the scenes, and our team will stay on for about a minute or so if you do have any additional questions. If you're still typing as we log out, we'll try and get back to you as soon as possible. Or also, if you want to respond to the email that I'll be sending with the HRCI and Shroom credits, if you have a question by then, feel free to add that on as well. And thank you so much again for watching this presentation, and looking forward to speaking with some of you soon.
Hey, Janessa, real quick, do you have, or do you remember what the win rate was? Someone had asked, and I thought it was about 80%, but do you remember what the
yes.
win rate is?
The protest win rate was 78.97% in California.
Okay, perfect.
And then there's two more questions right here.
Yeah, there was one other question that I'm happy, I typed it, but I'm also happy to address. It was, if we overpaid into the state SUI trust and transitioned to 501c3, is the overpayment lost? And the simple answer is yes. So if you look at your EDD rate and you see $100,000, that's an overpayment you've made. And some people, I have to admit, say, well, I don't want to leave it. I don't want to leave that money, but you never have access to that money. That money is it's just an ugly number showing how much you've overpaid. And the only way to avoid continuing to make that number grow is to switch to reimbursing. So if you see a really big number there, it is something, that's a good indication. If the number's not huge, it's still possible reimbursing is a good option, but just a note that if you do see a big number there, it's not necessarily a bad sign. So, do you want me to hit the rest of them too?
Yeah, the one, are you selling the insurance? Are you an insurance broker? And the PEO, like if you can answer those. I think there's these other two I can answer, but you can.
Absolutely. Are we selling insurance, or are you an insurance broker? Great question. I do have my insurance license, and we do have an option for insurance if that is something that you're interested in. We have a fraction, a tiny, like less than 1% of our members are using the actual insurance option. For the vast majority, it is a trust self-funded reimbursing option that does include a group stop loss. So if we do a proposal, we can certainly get more in the weeds of what that difference is with the group stop loss. But we do offer protection through that insurance, but we are not an insurance broker. And if you belong to a PEO, unfortunately for the vast majority, I've heard it's possible to work with a PEO, but for the vast majority of, I haven't yet come across a PEO that's not handling the unemployment. So if you don't happen to be, if your unemployment is not through the PEO, maybe we can see if there's a way to work together. But unfortunately, in every circumstance I've come across so far, the PEO is managing unemployment through their system. So unfortunately, you can't also participate with us.
So there's a question about the presentation. I'll be sending that at the in about a few hours with the email that include the HRCI and shrimp credits. And for a list of reports needed so you can check if you're overpaying. So we're also going to send this cost assessment if you want to see, or if you're interested, if your organization wants to look into a potential savings. I'll send this cost assessment form. You fill out the information, and then our team will provide results in a few days.
Yeah, perfect. And then we've got a question. Is there a reason not to switch to reimbursement? Absolutely. And that's why we do a cost assessment. We like to gather as much information as we can. And Janessa's 2 samples, those were of course samples that were really good savings for an organization, but it's not always that way. If you're an organization that maybe has really high turnover or for some reason has a really low tax rate, we'll tell you, you know, I've had a couple of these this last week that will say, you're kind of in a gray area, and it's, you know, it's, do you want our services and maybe break even, or we'll say, oh my gosh, you're paying 20,000 in claims and only 5,000 in SUI. So we give you a very honest assessment. We include the fee for our services in the assessment. We try and be as transparent as possible, but yes, absolutely. There are times, not a huge frequency, maybe 20% of the time that we do recommend you just keep going as you go. And, you know, you can say, you know, I've done my due diligence and I know that we're doing the most cost-effective option for our nonprofit. And there's a question, if we move to reimbursement, do we have to renew this every year? Reimbursement, it's just like paying SUI. Once you switch to reimbursement, that is your method until you change back to paying SUI. So it is an ongoing. Our membership is also ongoing unless you decide to leave us. But both are, you know, once you choose it until you change your mind, that's you're a member with us, and also reimbursing. For California, I do want to say it is a 5-year commitment. California will not let you go back to paying SUI for 5 years. So we do really want to make sure that we collect data, make sure that this is a long-term decision for you to make for your organization. You want me to keep going, Janessa?
Yeah.
Got some more questions here.
Some specific ones, I believe. There's one, I think there's another one about a PEO, but also there's one specifically about.
Okay, I'm going to read this one as I go. So I'm not.
Yeah.
So we're self-insured and reimbursed quarterly. We have a pool of substitute teachers who have started applying for unemployment because they aren't getting hours. What's your recommendation on how to mitigate these costs, if it's even relevant? That's one I might have to take offline, Nicole. I apologize. I don't have the capacity right now, and with that limited knowledge to answer that one, but we certainly can help you out. This question will be saved for us, so we'll make sure to follow up with you when Janessa does her follow up and see if we can get you a question answered. We have a PEO, but there is an audit that an organization should be aware of that would identify any overpayments. With the PEO, Kim, unfortunately, I really don't know. The PEO handles that unemployment, and I think they do it through the state fund. So unfortunately, I'm not really, I think the PEO typically does have a third-party administrator managing the claims, so they should be doing those audits, but without specific information about the PEO, I'm not aware of if they're able to audit. Victoria, we're going to be happy to do your cost assessment,
Yeah.
and we'll make sure you get the information. And no, there is no fee for the cost assessment. We're always happy to do it. You know, I kind of said at the beginning, Janessa's been here for 18 months working with nonprofits. I've been here going on my 15th year, and really what our goal is to help you all save as much money as you can. Make sure that donor dollars, grant money, all of that stuff is going as much to the programs, the fabulous programs you're all running here in the state of California, and not going to an overpayment. So we're happy to do it for free. And if it turns out to be a match for us, we're happy to set you up with our services as well.
Awesome. Yeah, it looks like those are all the questions so far. So please be on the lookout. In the next few days, I'll be sending over the copy of the slides, the HRCI and shroom credits, and also the cost assessment fee I'll attach to the email as well. Cool. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great day. And also for my contact information, this is my contact info, and you'll also see my email, my number as well if you have any questions. Take care, everybody.